Good morning and welcome to the Core Connection. I'm Mira Rubin here with you on Enlightened World Network. And today's topic is beauty. They say that beauty's in the eye of the beholder. But I'm looking forward to discussing with you the possibility of finding beauty in all things. So it should be an interesting conversation. And before we begin, let's just take a minute or two to get present. Let's take a deep breath in through your nose and hold it. And imagine clean, crisp oxygen flooding into your lungs, flowing into your bloodstream, nourishing all your cells, all your organs, bringing vital life energy to your body and being. And as you exhale any tension, stress, negativity, fatigue. And now let's take another deep breath in through your nose and hold it. And this time, imagine brilliant, bright light lighting you up from the inside out, illuminating, electrifying, energizing all your cells, all your molecules, all your electrons, and lighting you up from the inside out. And as you exhale any remaining tension, stress, negativity, fatigue. And now let's just gently press our palms together and very softly rub your fingers against your palms. Feel the deliciousness of that sensation, the tickling, the tingling, and allow yourselves to become present right here, right now, in these magnificent bodies that allow us to experience life. Welcome. Happy Monday to you. It's wonderful to be here with you. And let's talk about beauty. Because, well, I don't know about for you, but for me, beauty is the foundation for me. Like beauty, creativity. I couldn't live without beauty. And I believe that there is an emotional experience that occurs when we perceive beauty. And I with that awareness, like it's just for me anyway, it's an experience that fills my soul, that just fills me up. And it's possible for us to find beauty. I believe it's possible for us to find beauty in anything. And the process of doing that is a process of presencing ourselves, to be in a space of openness and wonder, to allow ourselves to experience a newness. And, you know, I think that beauty is not necessarily always an aesthetic experience. It's not always it can be something that profoundly moves us. So I guess I have a friend who is a spectacular artist in photography, and her work is not classically beautiful in many ways, because her subject matter is not classically beautiful, but she evokes the beauty in like the power of beauty, like the power and the terrible and marvelous all in one image. Her name is Catherine Jansen, Jansen. And the series that I'm talking about is called 1001. There, she traveled to India every year for more than 25 years of her life, and took these very remarkable photographs. And there's a mysticism about them, and the things that we might typically consider ugly, she is able through her artistry to evoke the beauty in those things. And I think that attendant to beauty is some sense of wonder and awe. And in order to experience that state, that place of wonder and awe, it requires a place of presence and a willingness to unknow what we know, to move ourselves out of our prejudices and our preconceptions, to be able to see something new, to allow ourselves to be moved by an experience, to really be the unfettered mind, and I guess when we say beauty is in the eye of the beholder, I think that the capacity to experience beauty from all different forms, or in all different forms, is a capacity to engage on a level that we might not otherwise. Now, there are certain experiences of beauty, whether, like, I'm thinking of music, or for right now, let's talk about music. When you hear a beautiful voice, it captures your heart in a way that is, it overtakes you, or it overtakes me, almost like it's beyond. It kind of like evokes a whole different state of being, and there are images that we can see that make our heart that move us so deeply, into this state, that it's a transcendent state to be in the experience, I think, of beauty. And I'm not talking just about aesthetics, because I think that we can move beyond our aesthetics to find beauty. But there are those experiences that are irresistible in that they are active in moving us, that we're not even having to be consciously engaged, but it just takes us and stops our heart almost, and just washes through us as a visceral experience. And I think that we can evoke that in ourselves with deliberate attention and intention, to be able to see or hear or experience, to sense the beauty in all things just by virtue of their beingness. So we've got a spectrum of experience that we're talking about here, where there's the experience of the beauty that just sings through us, that moves us sometimes to tears, right? Have you ever heard someone sing that, you're just moved to tears because of the magnificence of the sound, that it just touches so deeply into your very core being. So there's that degree or that experience. And then like that, you don't have to have a consciousness around it. It just happens. It's almost like it's something that happens to you. And then on the other end of the spectrum is the deliberate intention to perceive beauty, to be present and open and receiving of the beauty that is present in our everyday experience. Like there's beauty all around us. But I don't know about you, but beauty for me, as I said, feeds my soul. Without beauty, I think I would die. I would just wither away. And on the spectrum of needing to presence ourselves to beauty actively, that it takes intention and attention and energy to do that. And then I think that when we are able to presence ourselves to that experience of beauty, then it feeds us back. But I was just thinking, like, if I were in a cinder block cell, I can feasibly say that, yes, I potentially could find beauty in the patterns of the holes in the cinder block. And it would take conscious and deliberate effort to do that. And I don't know that I would be able to do that constantly, consistently. Perhaps that's what transcendence is, to be so practiced in presence that we can experience that consistent beauty. So I just want to say, I don't know if I checked on Facebook and it looks like we're live, but I'm not receiving any messages. So I don't know. Let me just see if I maybe made a mistake here somewhere. It's possible that maybe I didn't set it up properly. And no, it looks like we're all set up, but for whatever reason, please know that if you're putting in a comment and I'm not responding, it's simply because I don't see it. Anyway, so beauty. And going back to the saying, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. I think that this is very much the case, like that any kind of beauty requires some degree of a willingness to receive, to a willingness to perceive. How about that? A willingness to allow ourselves the openness to connection. There's a vulnerability that is a heart opening, I think, that is when we allow that heart opening, it rewards us with a sense of wonder and engagement and presence. So it's interesting because when we see art, for instance, you go to the art museum, for example, and look at the different representations of things. And some things will move you down to your core. Some things that you see will just be transformative, while other things you may find repugnant, or even maybe even worse, just have no response to at all, just would be flat. And even those things that leave you cold, I think that there would be places, ways to find beauty in that. It's interesting because I think in our culture, we skew toward utility. Finally, someone showed up. So I'm glad to see that the comments are working. Good morning, Elaine. So good to have you here, because you being you, I think, have a probably more constant experience of beauty than most of us. And that's what we're talking about this morning, is beauty, and how it is possible to find beauty in all things. And yet there are these moments when we are transfixed and transformed by the connection to heart and soul that beauty can generate, where we're just deeply and profoundly moved and touched by something in its beauty. And we were just talking about the suspension of judgment, and maybe even knowing, that allows us to really, truly, deeply experience beauty in its fullness. That it's beyond thought, it's beyond word, it's a visceral experience that is an opening that is such a gift, to be living in that space of beauty and wonder is just such a magnificent space of being and engagement with life. So while we may have different aesthetics, we may be moved by different things, I think that we can cultivate the eye that beholds beauty, or the ear that beholds beauty. We can find a way of being present to that experience that that just feeds us on such a deep and fundamental level, that it's life-giving. And as we look in nature, there's such incredible beauty, for example, and that feeds our soul. I think that, in I don't know if there are studies on this. I would imagine there must be studies on how natural immunity is enhanced by beauty, or the experience of beauty, because it is a visceral experience. It is something that our whole being kind of vibrates with. When you hear an incredibly magnificent sound, it goes right through your body and being. And if we think about sound, we think about music, it's frequency. And we are frequency. And so with this vibration moving through us, it is literally moving us. It is literally changing us because of the frequency. And it just seems to me that, as I was saying, our culture is skewed toward utility rather than beauty. And so, for instance, so many of the buildings that we create are visual atrocities, but they're functional. And I think that we get to be looking at the importance of beauty for our well-being, that creating beauty in our environment, in our built environment, is essential. That this whole idea of utility does not in any way need to exclude beauty, but that beauty needs to be a priority. It needs to be something that is integrated into everything we do. And if we do get to create that priority on beauty, then the quality of our lives will be so vastly improved. So, even in food, they say people eat with their eyes, right? When you're served something, the appearance of it is part of the experience. We do eat with our eyes for those of us that are sighted. And that's a big part of how we consume the world, is through color and shape and form and flow and movement. Watching incredible dance, for instance. For me, color, oh my gosh, color is just life. And texture. And I wonder, for you, what is your experience of beauty? What's your definition of beauty? What importance does it hold in your life? I think that there are quite a number of people who wouldn't necessarily identify beauty as one of their primary movers in life, or primary influences. But I can't imagine that we're not, whether we're conscious of it or not, I can't imagine that we're not all impacted by it, or by beauty in the world. So I think there's a maybe a vulnerability that is required in order to really allow yourself to experience the profundity of beauty. There's a need for a connectedness. There is a need for presence to really be able to experience it. But nuances of color and form, and I think it's really a question of presencing ourselves to the miraculous, and connecting into wonder. Yeah. So a sense of wonder and awe. For me, when I can remember to bring myself back to that place of wonder and awe, that's when I personally feel most alive. And I would venture to guess that that's probably true for most people when they allow that. And so I guess today I invite you to just experience beauty, experience the beauty of whatever you encounter. And it may take some active engagement to find that beauty, but it's redemptive to me anyway. Like it brings me to a hallowed place to really be present to and experience beauty. And I invite you to experience and experiment with yourselves to see if that holds true for you. So that's today's topic. Thank you so much for being here with me for these morning musings. I so appreciate you and your engagement, and you just really enrich my mornings, and I hope that you find these conversations enriching as well. So with lots of love, I'm Mira Rubin. This is the Core Connection, and I go live here each weekday morning on Enlightened World Network on the Facebook page, and I invite you to check out the other awesome programming on Enlightened World Living and EWN One with the Earth. And until next time, have a beauty-filled day. So much love.